Actually, this is the first time that we're officially doing a podcast for the international podcast. How did we miss this chance all this time? I mean, we see each other here almost every day, and I guess we have our conversation outside the podcast. However, I know many of your stories. I don't know a lot from your stories, and a lot of people here don't know your stories. But I want to start with one part that I also don't know. What were you doing before you founded Impact Hub? What was your life like, and how new were you to Vienna?
What was I doing before we started? I came here as I was 23 years old. I came for 1 year. I didn't think it's going to be forever. It's not going to be forever anyway, but I did not imagine that it's going to be for such a long time, and that I'm going to get such strong roots in this country, which I resented in the beginning. I did not like Austria at all. I mean, I liked Vienna as a city from the outside, but I did not feel good here at all. So it was a surprise that to some extent I'm here for such a long time. I guess I changed some part of my mind in the meantime and created certain bubbles that made me love the city much better. I came here with a student organization called ISEC. I was part of the student organization. So were the other two co-founders. So we are Impact Hub. It's to some extent a product of ISEC. ISEC is an international network of student-run, with the purpose of making the world a better place by developing agents of change. So that's what I was doing before for several years in Vienna. And afterwards, because I needed money after I finished university, I had to find a job. And even though I knew that this is not what I wanted to do, but I couldn't find a job that seemed meaningful for me. I followed the path that I studied. I studied banking, so there I was. I went to banking for a few years. They were very exciting because they were exactly during the financial crisis. So I saw everything. I'm serious. Like, they were really exciting. Otherwise, banking would have been really boring. But sorry for the bankers in the room. But it was actually exciting to see a lot of dirt coming out, even in the banks that seem to be sustainable, which I've chosen because I thought they were sustainable. And that's what I was doing before or during the time I was starting up the Impact Hub, because, important, the moment when I decided to go banking, I also decided to start up something, because I was really afraid of myself, that if I go banking and then I'm gonna start to like the money and career opportunities and everything, I'm going to somehow find it very difficult to go back and try the risky career without any vision of becoming an entrepreneur in your 20s in Austria.
Sure. However, founding something, it could mean a lot of things. Why did you, first of all, what was the first idea that you got to start something impactful, or basically to start an impact factory in a sense?
No, actually, the main idea was, or the main intention, rather than an idea, because we didn't really have too many ideas, but we knew what we really wanted to have. And we knew that we wanted, first of all, to work for something that had meaning. We would always make fun in ISEC, because ISEC was supported by a lot of the big multinational companies, and we always said, like, I'm not going to end up selling chewing gum to the Middle East or things like this, which many of were doing, part of this Cadbury, Schweppes, and Unilever, and all the others, which are still exciting careers if you are into that. But for us, it was not the path. So I don't want now to make everything sound ridiculous. It was just not for me, and not for us as founders. So we wanted to work for something meaningful. We wanted that our business skills are going to transform society for the better, that we are going to create something that makes a difference for society or the environment, and we believe that there are other people that are same like us, and that we need to build a community around it. So this is what and encourage each other to actually pursue this. So it was some sort of risk management strategy to make sure that we are going to continue pursuing this. And this is how, from community to space, we actually developed what Impact Hub is right now. We discovered the idea, so the Impact Hub, we did not invent it, somebody else did in London. We just took the idea to Vienna.
But before we move to where you are now, I still want to say a little bit on the initial years, let's say, the very genesis of it. How did you get to know the co-founders, Hinerk and Matthias? How did I become we?
We met back in the student organization. So I was, as I said, in the end, for 3 years. They were members of ISEC as well. We met in this organization. We worked together, part of the organization. And while being there, we developed these new ideas. We started meeting. And at one point, when I was supposed to go into banking, I wrote a letter, not to just these two guys, but to more people that I thought could potentially answer the call of co-founding something that was vague. And 4 of them answered. 2 of them were still the ones with whom we've actually started building Impact Hub.
And if anyone is interested, there is a picture of the 3 founders the day that it started, or the very beginning. It's very early stage picture of the 3 of them standing at the front desk. So on the way out, you can see how they looked 15 years ago. But tell me a little bit, how did you, so this is a huge location. For those who don't know, there's 2 more floors above us, and there's 3 more locations in Vienna. How did this get from a small location to this big? How did it start? How did you find this place? How did you develop, how did you find the first partner to develop the project? And what was the biggest challenge back then?
Many questions, long stories.
Choose one.
This was not the first location we looked at. We've looked at many locations. Actually, my co-founders were doing that. One of them is Austrian, the other one is German. Both of them were studying in Austria. I did not study in Austria, just that you know. I just came for this organization. My level of German was low, and it's still.
Very encouraging.
Where are you? Romania. And so they were doing all this work. We looked at other locations before we really considered it. It was nevertheless a location where we would have to invest a lot of money, which we did not have. And then we stumbled upon this location, and it looked like the right thing. It was only the first floor, so nothing that you're actually seeing
just
here.
Above us.
Yes.
1 floor more.
One floor more. In Austria, as you know, there's first floor is mezzanine, so it's actually the second floor, but we call it the first floor.
Yeah. We still don't know why, but we do.
So 2 floors up is the first floor. we started demolishing it and rebuilding it. We really rebuilt it with the community, because before that we started already having a lot of different events in different places. So we started building community before we actually had the space. And then with the community, we started redesigning the space, rethinking how it should look like, what it should have. We had, of course, support from the Impact Hub Global, who came and shared some of their experiences.
But before you got in touch with Impact Hub Global, this was called something else, right? You had another name before.
We had a different, we started an organization, it was called Immersons. It was an NGO. And then this NGO applied for the license of the Impact Hub.
Explain me a little bit a part that many people are wondering right now. Where did you get the money?
For the Impact Hub?
Yes.
Well,
how did you find the first money to put this together? And I love the story about having to explain what an impactful place is. Can you maybe tell that story a little bit?
Yeah. The guys had some money from their grandparents. Not a lot, but as every proper Western European, I don't know, they start saving. It was not my father. My father went bankrupt, unfortunately, so it did not.
Quick reminder, this is being recorded.
He knows he got bankrupt. So even if we would have had some sort of savings, for me and my brother, probably he would have used them in the meantime to cover the losses. I love him greatly, and he developed me the way I am, and I learned from his mistakes, but also from his stories. And I still pray every day that we don't get into the same situation, because it can every time happen, yeah. Right? Look at the economic situation right now and in the future. So I might, I hope it's not happening. But so they had some cash, and not much, but something to put down at least the minimum requirements for setting up a limited liability company.
Do you remember how much was it back then? Now it's 10,000 euros.
It was more, but I don't remember exactly. I don't remember numbers and names. I remember stories and faces. Then, this was part of the money, and then at one point, we were looking for additional money. We tried to apply in different places, at the Vienna Business Agency and AWS and everything that was at that time. But we would not fit in any category, because they were thinking, what are you? You're not real estate, you're not a consultancy, you're not an NGO, you're not a club. Well, what exactly are you? What is this? Because you have all these different elements. You're not an event organizer. Well, I don't know. We don't understand what exactly is it. And therefore, we couldn't really get any of the funds that were at that time available, because we would not properly fit in any of the categories. Of course, in the meantime, the ecosystem developed way more, and then the impact business became a category in itself, and verified social enterprises and all these kind of language and opportunities were not there at that time. But luckily, I don't know, the financial crisis happened, and the banks also had to push up some new ideas and opportunities for different reasons. And Erste Bank at that time was strongly pushing their social business arm to the front and looking for opportunities. And here we were, as Impact Hub, presenting a social business opportunity. And we got a loan from the Erste Bank. And as beautiful it was that we got the loan, the scarier it was that we had to guarantee it, and of course later on to pay it, but you had to guarantee.
What was the way to guarantee a loan 15 years ago if you want to start a business? What did you put as a guarantee?
No, you just had to take personal liability. You still have to take personal liability. I always make fun with my co-founders that our kidneys are guaranteed. Because we probably don't have too much else, to repay besides as personal liabilities. But you just have to take personal liability, meaning they will come and try to take everything that you have. If you bought an apartment, they will take it.
So basically you win if you want to start a business and you have nothing, because they cannot take anything from you. So whoever has nothing has higher chances to become a business person.
But that's for sure.
But maybe let's, because this is a real topic that many people want to start a business, but they don't know how to finance it at first. The loan is an option, obviously, but when you say personal liability, like stuff that you own, or some of you had a salary and the salary was part of the guarantee, or?
No, we didn't have a salary. We still can't have a salary. I never had a formal salary, because if you have more than, so we are not employed, we are self-employed in our own companies. If you own more than 24.5% or something like this, you cannot be employed by the company that you own. So you are forever self-employed, meaning you have way less coverage, social security coverage, than an employed person.
Way less money than being employed. It's much easier sometimes to be employed, but I understand this. The situation is the same situation for most founders, I guess, and it's interesting because you cannot take money from the company, you cannot pay yourself a salary, and even if the moment comes that there is enough money to pay the founders, then half of that goes on taxes.
Yeah, no, but like you can pay yourself. Of course you can pay yourself. So we are getting paid. I'm getting paid every month, but it's not like an employment. It's still as a self-employed. You are not covered by the Arbeiterkammer. You're covered by the SVA. And I was just talking to a friend who had her company, like she just got bankrupt. And practically the moment you file for bankruptcy, your social security is also closed. So you have no health insurance anymore. So it's really, it's not about demotivating you. I know that it became really demotivational, but it is for us to say, and I'm like, on Monday I'm hosting actually a gathering with key players from the startup ecosystem about strengthening the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And in Austria, it's not as horrible as in Romania, but it is not as good as in Denmark or the Nordic countries, where the entrepreneurs have equal rights with the employed people. I think this will boost the entrepreneurship in any country if you give the entrepreneurs the same safety net as you give to a person who is employed. You can be, I don't know, I always say that I would work in Starbucks, not because I like Starbucks so much, but because the atmosphere of work there seems somehow fun. You would rather work in Starbucks, You would work in Starbucks, and make coffee for people every day. Or you can have a company like my friend had, with like a lot of employees, 2 locations, supporting a lot of local producers and local farmers, and the next day have 0 rights. Have your bank accounts closed, have no health insurance, and
You're basically on the street.
Just for the fact that you took the risk to actually try to make something. While if you are just working for her, the next day when that company goes bankrupt, you get the unemployment coverage and maybe even something extra as a support. So it's really unfair. And this unfair advantage does not give us as a society the opportunity of creating as much as we could. We could create so much more. And we are looking at the a trajectory of jobs being lost, etc. And then how are you going to make it? You know, if you don't give people the same rights to be able to just try to create new jobs, try to create new opportunities.
It feels like a punishment. We're going to make you an entrepreneur to punish you, so you have no rights from now on. But tell me, one of your co-founders is not actively participating anymore, so he doesn't have a role at the Impact Hub, Matthias.
He's a board member.
He's a board member, but he's not on the day-to-day here.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a role on that. You and Hinnerk are still here.
We had our breaks as well from the Impact
you took
Hub.
1 year off or something, or a bit less, I think. More? Okay. In these 15 years, there must be something good about being a founder. So why do you keep doing this?
So it's amazing being a founder. Like, it is amazing being a founder. I'm just saying that, like, you know, we are here to also talk about the environment and what could be changed in Austria to make it even better to make it better for the founders. Of course, it's great, you know. I mean, you're living your dream to some extent. Every day I'm coming to the Impact Hub, I feel like, you know, it's everything I ever dreamed of, and even more than I dreamed of. We never thought that it's going to grow that much, and not in terms of business and in terms of space, but in terms of how many people actually wanted to create something for society as entrepreneurs or in any other function, because not just entrepreneurship is the only way to make a difference. So this, and I said that I created my bubbles in order to like it more. It is a space within a space where, especially in times where things look hopeless or things look darker and darker to some extent, or at least they seem like that because they are presented to us in this way. It's great to be in a place where people are looking for solutions. And so for me, it is a dream coming true. It is great, I don't know, for your ego, but for yourself to know that you've built something. And especially if there are spaces, like I think for me, it's even more exciting if they are physical spaces, or like you make it, you know, it feels like your home, it feels like you're kind of owning part of Vienna, even though we are not owning them. Yeah, we don't own this building. We rent it and transform it and we use it. But in a way, you feel that you really made your mark. And then, of course, there are so many different stories. You're one of them. I was just talking to my husband, saying, like, I'm really proud of this guy. I really like Alion. You know, he came to us, he was supporting, he was like facility manager. Yeah. He was the facility manager. Like, he took whatever job it was given, and that was the job that was available. And he did it with the head up. And he moved on from there to build, I don't know how many ideas he has. He has too many.
But talking about different ideas, in this 15 years, did you have another startup idea that you tried or you didn't try? Something else you wanted to do all these years?
No, I didn't have any startup idea. now I was thinking about, I need to have a startup idea that has to do with AI, because everybody has a startup idea with AI. So I had to come up with something as well. I thought, I cannot tell you because you're going to steal it.
It was being recorded.
It's recorded.
And broadcasted.
Exactly. Okay, it's that.
But you have something else in mind.
No, I have a lot of ideas, but seriously pursuing one, no. I had started in 2010 as well, parallel to the Impact Hub. I started with another partner, also Austrian partner. It's very important to have Austrian partners.
Lesson number 1.
No, I'm serious. It helps, with many things. It's easier to make it with Austrian partners than just foreigners all together, because it opens different doors. They understand better the market. They are listened to differently.
Is the language a factor there?
The language is always a factor. But I refused to speak German.
Why is that?
Because Sebastian Kurz, former chancellor, had at one point a very strong speech that if you're a migrant and you don't speak German, you have absolutely no chance in Austria.
Really?
And I wanted to prove him wrong. So I'm blaming my lack of good German skills on Sebastian Kurz. If you're watching, thank you. You partly ruined my life, but okay. Well, no, I demonstrated something. I'm still I'm speaking German if I have to. I'm speaking it with the taxi drivers, the hairdresser, at the villa.
Well, I can tell you that Sebastian Kurz now is doing a startup in some in the Middle East. So now he knows how it feels. Imagine if you tell you have no place here if you don't speak Arab.
No, he's doing it in Israel, and
as well.
Actually, it's not there you can speak anything. Yeah. You can speak Arabic, and you can speak Russian, and you can speak English, and it's even Romanian, and it's okay.
I mean, if it's okay to speak it, but it will work or not, it's a different topic.
It depends whom you're talking to.
But now, anyway, we got a new. At least the approach is slowly improving towards languages and towards foreigners, and there is a kind of a approach to making it better, and there's more acceptance. And I can testify through the international, I can see the partners we work with are kind of, let's say, giving up in a way that the only thing you need to work in Austria is German. And then, because there's no other way, we had a statistic published a few days ago that the Austrian population is aging a lot. By 2040, 26% of the population will be over 65 years old. And the workforce will be way, way, way lower. And the only thing keeping the workforce high in Austria is immigration. And what you're going to do, you cannot expect that people come from abroad and tomorrow they speak English and they start working. The only way it can work is to have a transitional phase, to have them work in English. And we all agree that, except for you, that they need to learn German and speak it at some point. But there will be, because there is no other way apart from, besides having a transitional wave and phase of finding jobs that are also in English. The country otherwise will collapse. We don't want that. So something must be done about it.
Yeah, I started German lessons.
Just recently?
I restarted it. So I think I healed from Sebastian. I actually restarted it this year, yes.
But you do speak German. I heard you speaking German. You had meetings in German on phone. I heard you speaking.
Yeah, but it's really not good. I mean, it's embarrassing to some extent. I feel, at one point I felt embarrassed. I'm like here for 21 years. Of course, I understand it, but when it comes to speaking, also because, I feel uncomfortable. And if I know that you're speaking better English than I'm speaking German, I prefer to speak English to you. So that doesn't really encourage me to speak German. I healed, and now I'm improving my German with German classes.
For many people who don't know, Impact Hub is one of those rare cases that is quite big of a company organization by now, and their office language is English. So there is a working culture here where you can work if you speak English better than German. Is that partially or totally because of you?
I mean, know.
Not in that way. I mean, were you...
It's because of Sebastian Kurz, but no, I think we wanted to be, and we always have, we wanted to be an international place. We didn't, the Climate Lab, Future Health Lab, Education Lab, they are Austrian places. They belong
to explain
to us,
a little bit,
but they are. It's not the same.
Just a quick background to interrupt.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 other locations for those who don't know. One is Climate Lab, one is Future Health Lab, and the newest one is Education Lab that have focus in these exact topics that I mentioned. So for people who don't know what they are.
And all of them are communities, spaces, and programming, so with different purposes. But yeah, so they are Austrian. They are supposed to have an impact on the Austrian system, to have just people who work within the Austrian system. Impact Hub was always, we wanted to bring this to Vienna because it is an international network. We pay license fee, quite significant. So it would be, if we just wanted to create something Austrian, we would have not necessarily had to belong to an international network and pay the license fee, but we saw it very relevant that Austria is linked to other more than 100 places by now around the globe where impact hubs actually exist. Similar people with similar drive and ideas from Accra to Monterrey in Mexico and Caracas and everywhere in the world. And for that, to some extent, we don't force anybody to not speak German, but we see ourselves as an international hub.
The team is quite international for sure. There used to be a map here where we'd scratch out the countries where we come from, and I think at some point we got to more than 20 of countries that we scratch out of that map. Has there ever been a point throughout these 15 years where maybe Impact Hub was not doing great financially and you saw as a solution?
All the time.
You saw that one of the solutions to get back on your feet could be to open it to an Austrian market more, and that to do it by speaking more German. There are rumors that has been the case.
No, it's always, of course, it's always the case, but it's, and we are speaking German. In partnerships, you mainly speak German. Yeah? But within the Impact Hub, you can speak anything, and within the team, due to the fact that we have a lot of people who do not speak German, I'm not the only one, we cannot speak German. If there are a couple of people who all of them speak very good German, their meetings are going to be in German. It's not the point. We are delivering. We've always been delivering programs also in German. It's not that the products are of course adapted to the market, but the culture, it's something else. And we want to make sure that we can still also integrate within our team, people who are like valuable that might not speak the language and might not need to speak the language for certain positions.
Are you
Or they could speak minimal or non-perfect German like some of us do, and it's okay in their roles.
Yeah. Are you currently hiring?
No, no, currently not hiring, but there's always, somebody goes in maternity, somebody decides to do something else, so there's always something opening. We have more than 70 people right now across these 4 locations, so you can imagine that in every quarter there is some
new babies coming.
Pregnancies.
Well, you can definitely keep an eye on the Impact Hub career page because there's from time to time there are new job positions there. I can prove that that's true because I was the one of those who got the job through that through the Impact Hub page as well. I want to talk to you a little bit more about your life in Vienna and maybe outside the Impact Hub. As far as we can go with that. Tell me a little bit, what do you do differently that results in being a successful entrepreneur? Tell me about your daily choices maybe. You choose, let's give you an example, you ride the bike.
Yeah, but not now anymore because it's
cold. So you're not that Austrian yet?
No. No, I came by Uber, I have to say.
Talking about impact?
Yeah, well,
it's cold.
I don't pretend to be anything like any saint, so don't take me as the role model in many cases. Yeah.
You've been traveling a lot, for example. Recently, you were in Brussels just a few weeks ago, in Belgium and another city.
Yeah, in Brussels.
What was it a business trip for Impact Hub?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
There is an Impact Hub in Antwerp that I decided to support. But besides that, there was the Impact Day Belgium. It was one of the conferences of the impact finance ecosystem, where a lot of different investors from the Belgian scene gathered together to look at how they are doing and to learn from each other what kind of investments should they make. And it was, I went there as a source of inspiration for us here in Austria to understand what they do and to try to bring some of that inspiration back here, because the Nordics and Benelux, they are really far when it comes to impact investment, and the more we go to the east, the smaller the amounts are. And so I went there for getting some inspiration and some new insights.
Is there anyone here who's planning to start its own business or has an idea? We got a few hands. Yes. As mentioned, and maybe, I don't know if everyone paid attention, everyone who purchased a ticket to be here today and tomorrow, surprised they're getting a free membership at the Impact Hub. I don't know if you were aware. Congratulations. You're getting new free members.
That's amazing. I was actually thinking about it as I stepped in. That probably this shouldn't be your event. It should be ours. So. Thank you for making it happen.
You're welcome. We're doing it together anyway. So, as I said, everyone who purchased a ticket, they're getting a 1-month trial here. Now, I want you to explain then how can they use that 1 month at their best, so they can really take advantage of the Impact Hub opportunities.
It's always the power is in the people. So the more you're around and the more you join different events, the more interesting people for you you're going to find. And And the people, the network, the connections are the ones that I think generally take us the most forward. I could not, I can't imagine anything stronger than the connections you're making that can support you in many ways possible. So we are creating, like even if you just walk around, sit around and drink coffee at the first floor where most of the members are working from. Or join like a lunch or something, or just join events. This is where I think you get the most out of it, by engaging with the others.
So maybe if I can make a...
And for those who want to really start something, my trick always was, I was always talking about it. Like, even if I was not 100% sure, like I just talked about it so that the others, as I told you before, I needed something to balance my weaknesses. So I'm always afraid that if I don't talk about it, I will not do it. So then I talk about it so that the others afterwards are going to somehow keep me accountable, because they will be like, so what did you do with your fashion business, sustainable fashion business? Actually nothing, but but at least you really tried for a while to make it happen. So I think this is something important, not just to go around asking people what you're doing, but to actually say what you're here for, what do you want to do, and the people show up to support you, either because they know somebody who tried something similar, or because they know somebody who might be an expert into the field where you want to do something, or anything.
So basically choosing to embarrass yourself, because if you don't do what you say that you're doing, they will come to you in a month, they say, what did you do with that? And if you say no, you don't talk about it anymore.
Some extra pressure on yourself, extra social pressure on yourself. If you're the person who needs that and likes that, some people are good to plan their marathon and things like that and go training on their own. I'm not. I need to go into a gym where somebody's telling me every moment while I'm counting my push-ups. This is me. So depending on the type of person you are, you can use your strategies. I'm working like that, and I think it's really like the more you talk about it as well, you also try, like, new ideas are coming, or bad ideas are filtered out, because you get to a point where you're like, actually, I don't like this idea that much. And it's also okay to not like it anymore, or to feel like it's not really the thing that needs all my energy, all my time. Because, and back to your question, if I had anything else, it's a little bit like, I don't know, a real startup, or a real, for me at least, you need to really be passionate and care about that idea as much that you can give it a lot, because entrepreneurship really requires a lot of you, and it's a long process. It doesn't just like immediately grow. It is a long-term process, and you need energy for a long time. And you can't really, as long as you're still engaged with this, you don't really, at least me, I don't have space in my heart, in my energy, in my brain for new things. I have a lot of ideas, but I don't have the energy to invest in them. So I think for those of you who are looking to start something, always not just look, is this a good idea for the market, but is this a good idea for me? Is this something that I can see myself engaging with for a longer time, also when it's hard and when it's not really, like when I might need to change it, when I might need to, put another hour or two, or an extra night, or an extra Sunday.
Yeah. If I may add one personal recommendation of what they can do in their first month at the Impact Hub is every Friday at 4, there's a mini event that happens. It's called Beer and Fear. And that's the best moment that if you spend the day co-working from here, that you get to know then the community, and then it gets to the point that Alexis was mentioning. Then you start building by knowing the people, by being referred, and so on and so on. So at the end of the day, it is about knowing the people and the people.
Yeah, I'll give you a story.
Sure.
Yeah. There was, it's one of the most successful, actually, in my view, stories of like what happened in the Impact Hub when one of our members back in the day, Simon, who was just leaving his job, I think, at Siemens, he came to the Impact Hub and he said he has this idea. I didn't fully understand it. It was something about the energy grid. I had no idea about the energy grid, but he was very passionate about changing the way we are buying energy from the grid and creating a different story. And he has been through he joined different acceleration programs that we had. He perfected his idea, but he was still a lonely solo player. And parallel to that, we had Peter. And Peter, I don't remember exactly. It was just like, I think he was a freelancer. He needed to work from here, but and we needed somebody to take care of our internet and like network management. Just a few hours, but whenever internet would crash, and you can imagine that it could crash in a co-working space, then we needed somebody to
turn on and off the modem.
Exactly, to fix that, and we didn't know how to fix it. So here was Peter, and he decided to do that. So Peter, our network manager, and Simon at one point met, and Peter actually was one of he became the co-founder of Simon, and they've built together Avatar, and Avatar grew as much that we couldn't host them anymore within our offices, and we managed to convince our neighbor to give them half of his office, so they actually have half of the floor on top of the Impact Hub first floor, so in the second floor officially, and they sold the company to a German bigger company in the meantime. So it was a very, very successful enterprise. And these two guys just met here totally by chance,
That's amazing.
Being around each other, and probably like I never asked any of them what was exactly the first moment when they got starting to talk to each other, but we always say it was probably at the coffee machine. So.
Well, the most successful part of the story that you said was convincing the architect to split the office.
You would not imagine how difficult it was.
Before we close, because I know you have to leave, can we take a couple of questions from the audience? We got time for up to 5 more minutes. Sure. If someone has a question for Alexis, I will repeat the question so it stays on the microphone as well. Anyone wants to ask anything? I know you're shy, but Alexis is not going to be here in the networking session, so please.
Yeah, if you had any advice for someone who wanted to start a similar project in another city, like what would be your best advice?
Maybe I can repeat just for the microphone. If you could have an advice for someone who would want to start a similar project in another city. What's your name, please?
Meg.
Meg? You got a question for Meg.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you for repeating. I think it's very important to understand the local conditions, to understand what that ecosystem there is really missing, because in the end, that's like the Impact Hub or idea and any kind of community of entrepreneurs or for entrepreneurial support has different elements, different ingredients, but they need to be mixed in the right amounts in order to fit the local sector. For us, when we started, we had to build everything from scratch. We had to explain everybody what this is. There was no co-working space. So we had different challenges. Now, depending where you would want to create something similar, it's very important to understand where your surrounding is and what the real needs are there, and how do you personally connect to those needs?
Thank you. Thank you, Meg. Anyone else wants to ask something before we wrap this up? Oh, okay. We see some people. Let's start with Dasha.
Yes.
Okay.
How do you measure, Alexis, how do you measure your success as an entrepreneur?
How do you measure your success as an entrepreneur?
Me personally, or us as Impact Hub?
Let's start with you personally.
You personally.
I don't know. It was. I don't think that success was necessarily a measure for me personally. I just wanted to make things work, and as long as I can see people joining and people continuing coming around with new ideas and trying new things, or leaving the space with a little bit more hope that maybe something different a different reality can happen. For me, this is the thing that motivates me the most. For us as Impact Hub, we count the amount of connections that we are enabling. We count the amount of direct support that we give to the entrepreneurs. These are the key elements. Of course, on the long run, we also we analyze how many jobs our entrepreneurs have created, but we do not necessarily analyze how their impact aggregated. I mean, this would be something amazing, maybe with AI, if we could, map our members and their impact and manage to aggregate their impact and see how we managed all together as a community to transform certain sectors. That would be amazing. But right now, that is not really possible, so we just do it through narratives. We just take stories from their transformation that they are enabling.
Thank you. Yes, you got 1 minute for that.
Okay. Alexis, what kind of support you provide for the entrepreneurs, like on a high level?
What's the high level support you provide for entrepreneurs?
I don't know what is the high and what is the low, but we have developed already, 13 years ago, a methodology for entrepreneurship, impact entrepreneurship support, where when you join one of the programs, we do what we call a diagnostic, which maps exactly where you're standing, where your idea is, how developed it is on 10 different dimensions, and then we focus that support on particularly the areas that show out of the diagnostic that are important for you particularly. Because in the beginning we started always with, the classical 3 modules and workshops, same workshops for everybody, but of course soon enough we understood that every idea has a very specific team, has a very specific industry, etc. So the needs are very diverse from entrepreneur to entrepreneur, from venture to venture, and that's why we really focus on customized support, where you identify the focus areas and we set up milestones, and then you're connected with experts in these particular areas to help you advance. And in the end, we do an exit diagnostic, so we also see the development from the beginning till the end of your program.
Thank you. And maybe we have 90 seconds, including the answer for Alison's question.
Thank you. So I work with a lot of international students at the University of Vienna. Some of and that it's essential to have Austrian partners if you want to be successful here. How would you recommend that international students, people that maybe don't have much of a network here, find these magical Austrian partners?
How do you recommend international students find Austrian partners here? We have to.
Tinder, no.
Especially if they have a dog.
Especially if you have a dog, it's working better. Or that's an addition. But do they, just a question, they are in an international school, so they are disconnected from the other students?
So many of them are in English language programs,
Oh.
and most of their networks are other international students.
I mean, you know, like it's been a long time since I was a student, so I don't know exactly what's going on right now. What worked for me were the international or European student organizations, because at least at that time in Romania, when in many other countries, like you would find a group of, like you could integrate with no matter what language you would speak. I mean, if you speak English, or the language of the country where you were in, and you would have this mix that would make it not really awkward for you that you were the only outsider, and you would have so you'd have a good balance. So they should just check all the different international student organizations or European student organizations. They used to be quite a lot, like in different study fields, like the lawyers had one, the medicine students have one. I'm sure that they exist now as well. And besides the fact that they offered a great opportunity for networking and like proper deep networking, not like we just met for sharing what books we are reading, which might be also very good, but they also offer, like they give you the opportunity to actually work together in projects. That makes you get closer connected to them. Makes you understand with whom you might want to, work or not. And they have other development opportunities in there. Usually, they have trainings, etc., excursions. Parties, so you have many different opportunities to find the right partners.
Thank you very much. Now, unfortunately, you have to leave, so we have to wrap this up. It was such a pleasure to talk to you, and I don't know why we didn't do this before, but maybe...
We were looking for the right moment, and
yes.
this was the right moment. And because I've avoided the question about my personal stuff that I'm doing that makes me successful, I tell you one thing that makes me at least not burn out. And this is every Friday evening to Saturday evening, I'm off work, offline, of anything. Unfortunately, your conference is now. So, so now, as the sun is setting, Alexis is going offline. It was a pleasure to be with you, and
thank you very much.
I'm sorry I can't stay, but next time the international talks has to be on a different
Tuesday.
day.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll take that.